series, and I will talk about advisory boards. Before we start, I would like to know, if you have experience with boards, advisory boards or bestuurraden, raden van bestuur, and what your venture is about, what you're doing. So your name is
Jelte.
Jelte, aangenaam.
So maybe I can start with advisory boards. Not a lot, only like what we did with KBC started. We have every 3 months we need to like come to the boardroom here basically.
Yeah.
And just tell our progress in some sort of a 20 to 30 minutes. So we have 50 minutes to present, then 50 minutes questions and answers.
Yeah.
So that's the board consists out of like a lot of different experts from different fields.
Yeah.
So it's like 8 to 10 of them, and then they give you feedback and you get.
They are always the same people always.
Okay. Construct the board every time, but there's like a core group of people.
Yeah.
And then you have like 5 sort of freelancers who share their expertise on that particular board.
Okay. And your venture is about, and the name is?
So my company is called Elewa. So Elewa means to understand in Swahili, and we improve the quality of education in Kenya. So we have a system, we developed a system that it can be used in class. We develop content for secondary education, so basically content that connects with students. We give teacher training, and we do some sort of higher consultancies for NGOs and for schools as well on how can we build a vision for quality education. So we work also multi-level.
Okay. And you're focused on Kenya, yeah.
We're focused on Kenya, but also starting to focus more globally.
Okay.
With a project in Belgium, we're also.
Okay. Your focus will be global at a while. Okay. And your name is?
So my name is François.
François, yeah.
I would same comment. The only experience I have with advisory board is the one that we just had.
Yeah.
But like what I want to have is an external advisory board, which is more custom towards my business, because we all have different business, very specific each other. So what I do is in the food industry. So we allow anyone to do a perfect cocktail, so like a mojito, in a few seconds.
Whoa, nice. And you're from France originally?
Yeah, from Brussels. Yeah, French speaking.
French speaking from Brussels.
And the secret is that we make fresh ingredients. We make fresh cocktails out of fresh ingredients, and we directly freeze them to keep the freshness. So there's no conservatives, nothing. It's really the good recipe, the good ingredients directly frozen, so it has a long conservation. And we have 2 different kind of business that we are looking at now. There's like the B2C kind of business. So you and me, you are at your home, you want to have a cocktail, just open your freezer. You have these like individual doors, you put it in your glass, and it's ready in a few seconds. And we also target like B2B, so like big events like festivals, so it's very different.
I personally did write the patent about cryogenic immediate freezing of juice. Of orange juice.
You wrote it?
Yeah, I wrote it. For a Belgian company. Yeah. I was a consultant at the time in the 90s. But then you keep the flavor of the juice because you in a cryogenic bath it's immediately frozen into pellets. Okay, okay, super. And your name is?
I'm Chris.
Chris, yeah.
With my company, I'm developing the wall system, because what I believe is that the interior walls are actually a temporary thing. Because after 20, 30 years, we're going to remodel our house or an office space or something. So instead of making a gyprock wall that's a one-time use, I'm creating an interior wall that you can place 3 times faster, and that is reusable at the end of the life cycle. So that's the concept.
And that you can move maybe?
You can. It's like a still wall. So it's not a flexible wall or something that you can roll over. It's a real dry wall, a gyprock wall. That is fixed. But instead at the end of their lifetime, you need to throw everything in the garbage, in the slopen. You can just reuse all the components and create a new wall. Nice.
So
it's for making new rooms.
You studied architecture or engineering?
I'm a product designer.
Product design. Okay. Yeah, nice idea. Nice. Cool. And your name is?
My name is Oliver.
Oliver?
Olivier.
Olivier. Oh yeah. Olivier. Yeah, Olivier. Okay, Olivier.
And I'm from Favor. We developed mobile applications
Yeah.
That allows you, when you need something from another location, to obtain it via another user present there at the scene. So if you want to go out before leaving your apartment, you can check if there are other users at the club you are thinking of going to, and then you can ask them to see if the atmosphere or the vibe is good. So you can ask directly.
It's a real-time atmosphere.
Exactly, but you could also use it for other things because you can also leave pins behind on the map.
Yeah.
So if there's nobody present there, you can just simply leave a pin behind. And so we've already had users using that. For instance, if they lost an earring in a park, to leave a pin there and then to ask the community if they pass by and see an earring to contact them.
What's the name?
Favor.
Favor.
F-A-V-E-R.
So you will need scale. You will need scale. Kinchingo, you know him? Kinchingo, we will talk later about him. He did something also for the Horeca in Leuven and so, as a venture a few years ago. Okay, voila. So, gentlemen, you all gentlemen. So you said you want to raise a board. You are thinking about it too?
We are actually starting it, so we have identified some people which we want on our board, and now we're in the process of setting that up.
Okay, so you can apply it immediately. And
I want one too.
you want one too? Yeah. And Olivier?
I just like learning.
Just like learning for the future. Good, very good. Okay, so I'm Peter. I'm a generalist. My background is mechanical engineering. I worked at Baycard. I worked in machine building. Now I joined Cirrus 10 years ago, and we started there the software business. And in software, Cirrus is the daughter of Agoria. And in Cirrus work typically, you know maybe Agoria, Fabrimetal, the federation of the industry. Typically, Cirrus is the engineering branch of Agoria. Typically, we help develop companies develop better products with technology. But so we don't help them to sell or to set up a company. But typically in software, what you see is the product is the business. In software, in the things you are doing, you cannot split the product and the selling. So that's why we went for the software and the ICT department, also working, helping people to scale, to sell, to grow, and so on. Okay. But all my other, most of the colleagues are real engineers. Okay, that's just to position us. So I will talk you about why you need one, when you need one, what is it about, who will you put in, and how does it work. So the basics about advisory boards. You will get the slides if you send me a mail. You will get the slides. I will send you personally. Now, just to start, is if you ask people for the advisory board, then take immediately away the confusion with raden van bestuur, conseil d'administration, because it's totally different. Raden van bestuur, conseil d'administration, they have a legal implication. You need insurance to be there, because you can be how you call it, aansprakelijk, liable for decisions made in the board of directors. The advisory board is not like that. Okay, just say it's an informal program to coach us and to get your feedback on questions we have. There are no legal implications. They don't need to have insurance and so on, and they don't have voting rights in your company. Okay, so make that from the beginning very, very clear that it's about informal. Now, in the beginning, formalize everything is really not a good idea in a venture, because if you start to formalize too much your marketing, your offices, your agère, you're wasting a lot of energy too soon. The same with a real raad van bestuur. It's too soon probably for a venture. You will need it when you are becoming an NV. When investors come in, they want an NV or an SA. and then you need, of course, an advisory raad van bestuur with all the implications. But this is a very good training for that. You can see the advisory board as a kind of, we will train for a board when there are investors in, and then you have to tackle the investors that are on your board with questions. But it's a very good exercise in an informal way with no strings attached. Okay, is that clear? So there are no strings attached for both sides. That is very important. Now, did somebody already see my colleague Omar Mahout once? No? No? Okay, no, because he always explains next things we'll talk about. So the why. Why you need an advisor, why you need a format. So we developed a format. It's not rocket science, but it's a format. The format, I will explain you the format, but why you need a format? Because typically your idea is to bring very smart people together, okay? So you have a guy from a top guy from a bank, an entrepreneur, a very good entrepreneur, a guy with a notebook that have much contacts, and you have 3 hours. Each season, you see them 3 hours, okay? Now, what typically happens is that the meeting is over before you realize it. They are so interesting people. They start talking, they go on, and then the other picks in, and that picks in, and you have a very nice discussion, very interesting, because they are really top dogs. But at the end, you think, yeah, was there any added value for me? Did they talk about the things that I wanted to hear about? You understand what I mean? So if you have no format, you just put paper there, they will talk about everything except the things that you really are interested in. And they will feel a little bit frustrated because they say, oh, my time is very scarce. I have maybe 10 free evenings in a month because they are very, they've made a career. And I spend it, one of the 10, on a meeting like that. And what was the outcome? What was the added value? We don't know. We had a nice chat with some other interesting people. So what I mean is, it's not because you put interesting people inside a meeting that there will be an interesting result coming out of it. Okay, you understand it? Okay. Maybe you already encountered it, such experience that you brought people together, and does it sound familiar? No, no. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So you need a format. Okay. Now, when the question is when. So, 3 of you want to start. You are a little bit watching if it could be of relevance. It's not a good idea to start too early. And I will explain you the right moment to start. And that's seeing you. So you know this model. You already saw it maybe. Yeah. Yeah, think so. Yeah. Okay. So Jelten is it? Jente, sorry, Jente. Jente. You're in which phase now? You think?
Between the top.
Scaling?
Yeah, work before scaling.
Here?
Or like deploying to market.
Here, okay, yeah. Jente is in the product market fit. Francois, you think you are where?
For one product, there will be product market fit, and
okay.
the other in between.
Okay.
The B2B is more advanced, and we have.
Yeah. So the other is more here, huh?
Sorry.
The B2C is more here. The B2B is more here.
Or I don't know, or a bit
yeah.
upper.
Yeah. Oh, but one is you feel confident that you are here. Okay. And Chris.
More at the idea stage.
Idea stage. Okay. Then it's not so good idea to do it already now. That's what I will explain you. And Olivier, you are looking for you're just watching out, but you have an idea where you are for the moment.
I think between the idea stage and problem solution.
Yeah. Okay. So what we typically advise is to start a board here when you're entering product market fit, not here, not here. Here probably you will end up with an official board, een raad van bestuur, conseil d'administration. Maybe there are investors in or banks or so. You will. So it's we are typically in this frame, product market fit. Yeah.
We actually already have investors who are in, and we also have an NV.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're like having a very informal sort of the board
Yeah.
with our investors is only us. So we're like, yeah, we got them very early basically.
Yeah. Okay. And the investors are business angels.
Business angels.
Yeah. No venture capitalists. Yeah. This is typically for venture capitalists, and they want a seat in the board and so on. Okay. Now. Why is this important? And I will try to explain. If you don't understand, please ask. The added value of the 3 people, the 3 hours, 4 times a year, is very high here. It's very high, a huge impact. Is shaky here, and it's nothing here. Even you put the best people together, added value is 0. Very, very doubtful, very high. Why is it? Anybody has an idea? Why?
Already have some operations running, and they know what are the good things you're doing and what are the bad things.
Can you? Everybody understood? So it's about operations, about processes. What Jente is saying here, you have processes, operations, and they have been through it. And they can advise you. They can say, we tried that 10 years ago. We failed. That worked. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's about process operations. Now, can I ask you, why doesn't it work then here? You have no process operations here? Or?
Not mature enough or so.
Yeah? Anybody an idea? No? Zeg maar, heren. Vas-y. No. This is typically about iteration, testing things, experimenting things. Nobody knows what will work, even not the smartest guys. So the only thing you can say as an advisor is just try it and let us know. So that's really, we set up 30 boards. I was myself in 12 boards, and there were 3 boards. They said we are here, but they actually were only there. And the whole meeting goes then about, I think this might work with this segment. If we tweak a little bit our product in that direction, probably when we test it will be a success. Then the board said, just try it and let us know next time. So then you're spending your evening on saying, just try it and let us know next time. So it's a kind of iteration, testing, and it's very frustrated voor mensen die heel veel werk hebben, die they cannot give you good advice because it's all about testing. It's not about process. It's not about KPI and so on. Is that clear, Olivier and so? Yeah. You both guys, you are in it. You are starting to build processes with metrics and so. Hear that? So.
Very early.
Yeah. You, Francois?
One of the products we sell, and we have a production process, etc.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
In place.
It's good.
And the other one, production process is also in place, but we don't sell so much, so we don't know exactly which distribution point we tackle.
Okay. This you are here, there, and there one. And it's not all process mean not only about production, but it's mainly about go-to-market, about service, the selling, marketing process, and so on. But you are there. Olivier, you are not yet there. Chris, sorry. Could we give an advice to Chris what he could do when he wants advice? And maybe we say advisory board is not a good idea. Could we give him advice what he has to look for?
Find a good mentor.
You understand it? Yeah, find a good mentor. You already have a mentor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It's not too good. Yeah. It's and one mentor is not enough, or why you want to go to the board, to a board?
Well, I'm here to learn about how to set it up in
Yeah.
the future.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's not that I want to do
Okay.
it right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
And it's good to know when it's
Okay.
time.
Okay.
So it's not like I want to do it right now. So I'm just
Okay.
learning.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect. So what you could do is to assemble interesting people around you and say, one day I will go for a board, and then probably you are in. Now, if you allow it, I would like you to have me as a sparring partner, face to face. Then you can call them, see them maybe for a coffee, and it's for them it's really very low friction, low demand from your side. It's whenever they have 5 minutes for you, it's okay. It's different than putting together people and listening to the other stories. You understand what I mean? So I think it's best here to just have smart guys and contact them regularly. But if you try to put up a board, you feel the frustration because, okay. Yeah. So voila. We any question? No, it's clear. So, the first thing you said to the people is, we are in product market fit. We're starting to productize our offering for a few segments. We are building processes. We have developing metrics. I would like you to give us feedback on best practices on metrics, best practices on processes, best practices on targeting segments, and so on improving the product. We do it in an informal way. There are no strings attached. And anyhow, it will be for a fixed time. It will be for maximum 2 years. Okay? Always say that in front, that say, anyhow, we will end this thing in 24 months. So after 8 boards, we stop with it, okay? Because otherwise, people might be insulted that you get them out or that you stop it and say, wasn't it okay? And you say, no, it was just, why is the rationale behind it? And we come back to our model. No? Is that this will probably take you 2 years, 24 months. And then you will end up in a new environment. You need a new board, a new kind of guys, fresh ideas. Okay, so the way we see it. It's based on a few models of Ashmoria, but we tweaked it a little bit further, especially Omar. Is that every phase has its own way of working, own best practices, own organization. You reinvent yourself. So after 2 years, you will probably be ready for scaling, look for investors and so, VCs or whatever, go international. Then it's good to start with a clean sheet, okay? Is that clear? Does that make sense? Yeah. Because you have to reinvent your company and so your team. Olivier, you're not yet in the scaling phase, I guess, or when you think you will end up in scaling phase with the B2B segment?
I don't know, because now it's like low investment, so it's a bit the question of, okay, at what time should we put more money to speed up the thing or not?
Yeah. So you don't know yet.
And also about the production, now we are outsourcing it, but not yet industrial, so there will be one time where we
So Olivier is a good example where this will be a disruptive step, because here he will have probably take the control itself over production, over the logistics, and so it will become another company. It will be rather disruptive. So it's logical you have other people, maybe production guys that you don't need yet, that come in your board and so on. Voila. So it's a timely thing for 2 years, and another another important thing is that I said already. Another important thing is that you explain your story about the 2 years that you are in front of you. So you say, the next 2 years, we will go through the product market fit phase. It probably will take 2 years. You will guide us, and we believe that the main grow engine will come from boosting Kenya, inside Kenya. So we have to cover Kenya, and in the next phase probably we'll go to Uganda or Uganda and Tanzania and so. Just showing my geographical knowledge. And so what I mean is you have to tell a story about what we will do during the product market fit phase. How will you grow? What is the main engine for growth? You can maybe you can have ideas about 10 different ways to grow, but are a few dominant ones. You understand what I mean? It's too abstract? Yeah? No? Why is that important? Because it's very important to give constraints. When you allow people to be creative and you give them no constraints, they end up everywhere. And then that's what we said in the beginning. You don't gonna get what you did expect. They will go in all directions. They lose each other's time and your time. So very, very important is that you put the constraints straight. Like the next 2 years, we want to grow, like maybe for Olivier, we want to tackle the Benelux and France and have a market share about of the I would call it the parties at home of 3%, and have a few first channel partners, and maybe have some I don't know, breweries or whatever. Concrete enough? Yeah, yeah. Why is that important? Because then the people know that they have to. So, when people look at you, and these are the eyes of the advisory board, they see you here. And you try to do things in all directions. And they can say, this guy said, yeah, do something here. It looks very interesting. I have some experience with that. And the other guy said, yeah, that's a good idea. And they start developing their way. But you decide already that you would go in this way, okay? It's a little bit abstract, but make this very clear. You don't want to go for Russia. You don't want to go for the Emirates and so on. Try to be creative, guys, for growth, for product market fit in this area. Okay, so that's very, very important. That you give a scope for creativity. Without telling some, ja, zeg maar.
What if there like a huge opportunity in the other directions?
Yeah, but you are the boss. Maybe then you are not a good boss. Is it for you clear what your constraints could be if you're not telling
yeah, but I also
secrets?
Keep an open mind to new ideas.
Yeah. One thing can maybe go from the first phase. We want to scale on our own, not via distributors. Okay, or in the Benelux we go on our own, but for France and Germany we need a distributor. We need him. Within 2 years we need to have a distributor. Okay, that kind of stuff. Chris, you could imagine things like that? Yeah, okay. Olivier could imagine things like that? Yeah. Voilà. So this is in a sense the format. It's fixed in time, fixed in strings assessed, and fixed in constraints of creativity, area of creativity. guys, let's keep it as a constrained thing. That's very essential. That's like an architect that has to build a house between a very tall house and another house. He puts his creativity at work much more than when you give him a green field, and creativity will be very limited. Okay. Now, being said that, at Sirius we have a certain view about growth. So the essence is that you will grow your company and you get external help for that. Now, what is growth? Anybody has an idea about what is growth for him? What could be growth for you, Olivier?
For me, it's just looking at my revenue and looking at the
Revenue.
units of sales.
Sorry, and
the units of cocktails sold.
Yeah. So Olivier defined it very much here, growth. We call it external growth. It means sales, turnover, distributors, partners, agents in the field, and so on, customers, users, and so on. Okay. Okay. You go to, you're gonna sell. You sell now maybe a few hundreds or a few thousands. Don't know what, but you multiply it by 100.
Mm-hmm.
You're happy?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. Is it sustainable?
Not with the actual production process.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you will bump onto some issues about maturity. We call it maturity. So typically when you grow, it's a kind of Hegel. Maybe guys studied Hegel. Hegel's dialectic, la dialectique de Hegel. Hegel says most real processes are a dialectic between one process and another process, and you go together forward. So typically for grow, Olivier grows in deals, in revenues, but at the same time he has to grow in his maturity of his organization. You have to hire people, you have to train people, you have to install processes, you have to install procedures, systems, and so on and so on. Okay. We work with with all different kind of guys. Sometimes we work with 3 civil engineers that studied informatics and did a PhD. Then they do this very, very good. They make a very, very mature company. But selling, sometimes a little bit, okay. And then you have some guys that did Solvay or Antwerp Business School or something like that, and they they want to sell, but they neglect this part, and then you build a card house, and voila. So for us, the essence is that you keep those both axes very under control and that you monitor them. And that's why you're gonna bring in the advisors to help you do this faster while maintaining this okay. And typically what they will say you when you do this, they say, okay, you're spending too much efforts on building security, too little on building speed. You have to do more of this. We are not satisfied. And it's like Formula 1, the best racers, they just stay within control. This is control. They are just at the limit that the car almost breaks out of the grip. This is the edge of control. That's the best entrepreneurs also. So it's boosting, accelerating until you run just not out of cash flow, until your people just not get exhausted and so on. Systems are and so on. Okay. So this is a major insight for how an advisory board should work, because this is then translated on who will come in and what we will do with how we will spend the format. Anybody questions so far? No? No. And so you understand that we call that the scaling engines, or the growth engines, of the go-to-market engines. If you have no idea where your engines are, I think Olivier knows them. You want to work with distributors or partners or so, or
yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Now you work direct or so.
For the B2B, we work direct.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
But it would be also interesting to have distributors to increase.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. So if you said we want to have 3 to 5 distributors, then you will see if you don't find them, it will keep on going like that. The board will then push for, you need distributors. We know how you can initiate that, how you can make a contract with them, because I did it before. Okay, and then they help you here, and then okay. So a conclusion is, a board is an informal and regular gathering with the objective of accelerating your scaling and grow. So first thing is, you have to grow fast. If you have the ambition to build a lifestyle business, it's not bad. It's good. If you said, I'm happy married, I have 4 children, I have lots of hobbies, and I want to enjoy my life like I do now, it's not really no problem. You can be completely happy, but then don't hire a board. Just be, because they will push for. We want to see metrics. We want to see double, triple, and so on. Another is make it sustainable, like we explained. So if you grow, they will help you on processes, on systems, on relationships with banks, relationships with organizations, with export and so on. And of course, the most part is the balance. Now, if you paid attention, who should be in the board? Which profiles should you add? Do you have an idea? If you paid attention to that.
People that already went through those phases.
Yeah. So guys that have experience in
entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Creation of a company.
Yeah, and what is typically about entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurs, they have experience with scaling fast. This axis, that axis. So guys that you bring in, like an Omar or guys from Chopat or so, they bring in. They just want to see that is good. They will say, it's too slow. I losing my time. It's they have no ambition and so on. Okay.
What about product?
Sorry?
What about product? If you want to scale fast, you need a good product, basically.
Yeah.
We thought of taking to our board also people with a very good vision on educational sector, both globally and in Kenya.
Yeah, that's true. That's a third profile. So what Jente is telling, you need advice about building a better product, about having more domain knowledge. And typically what you see today is that you are no longer building a product, you're offering domain knowledge as a company. You say education in developing countries should be done like this. We are experts. You are offering a methodology. You say, we know how to build nice parties. You should do it like this. It's you. So then you need guys that are really good in the domain experts we call them. Okay. You have an idea, a guy like that?
We have a couple. So that's actually what we would need to do more is go to what we have built. Is mostly that domain knowledge, so that's what we have as a company. We need also people who are more like on the business side, because that's not where we come from, basically. But we also want people who are even better on the domain knowledge.
Yeah, that's a very good, that's a super good, reflex. For you, it can be somebody out of the a guy from a room business or so. Barracuda, of hoe noemen die mensen? I don't know if they are not competition to you. I guess not. Barracuda, the rum, the... Yeah, Bacardi, I don't like to drink rum. For you, it could be an aannemer, constructor, and so on. So we have a domain expert can improve your product. He will not tell you have to implement it functionality or what. No, he will say, those people need this. Offer them that through a service, to a product or whatever. A guy that says speed up your things, and then what is the third profile?
Somebody to organize things. To organize the company.
Yeah, inderdaad. A maturity guy that says, if you say this, I know your people are exhausted. If you tell this, I know your systems are not up to date to the processes. You have people. For instance, my colleague Omar is a scaler. He was an entrepreneur. He wants to see growth. I'm a maturity guy. I have a nose for things that go wrong. Then say, take care of that and so. So every people has some edge. So how it looks like. Maybe a first question: how many people would you put in your board? You think?
5 or so.
5 externals? Yeah, 5 externals. Yeah. And Olivier, you thought about?
I don't know, I would say 3 or 4, but
3 or 4, yeah. Okay. Typically at the beginning, 3 is good, I guess. So typically the least you need is an enabler, the maturity guy. Do you have an idea which kind of guys this could be?
What we have is, for example, because we are in education, we have someone from the government who is like also doing division on education there.
Yep.
And then someone, a professor also we have targeted.
Yeah, this is for me domain experts.
Mm-hmm.
They are helping you.
But we still need to figure out about the 2 others.
Yeah. You are heavy, very, very heavy, and that's good because it's a very professional domain. You need a lot of input here on domain experts because it's far away, it's politics and so on, and local things. So you need that. But this you don't have yet. Yeah. And who could be a guy like that? Good idea? Or for you, in general?
For me, can be maybe someone with experience in production.
Yeah.
Like frozen food or
Logistics. Everything that can go wrong, this guy always lifted 20 times probably. Yeah? So you need guys that are really that have seen the shit. Typically, good profile. This is typically a digital guy. This is digital guy. He comes from a digital, fast growth company. He doesn't have to be from a digital company. He can be a CEO or a chief operating officer. Could be a banker. If it's a lot to do with processes, with compliance, with working capital, could be a banker. If you say our business is really tough in working capital, then it would be the case for you, I guess, Chris. Your working capital, I don't know if you would do it yourself or franchise it, but working capital will be a tough issue for you. So you have plenty of them.
Actually thought about a lawyer, like someone who built a big law firm.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah. Good idea.
Quite impressed us with his knowledge when we talked to him.
Yeah. And he's hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
He's hands-on.
Yeah, because he built the whole company.
Yeah, that's super. This guy will say, I tried it, but it will not work. Hire people, in that case, train people like that. Those people are not so hard to find. You have a lot of people that did a lot of things in their life. Those people are very hard to find, but everybody wants the same. Everybody wants the guy from Showpad or the guy from Drupal or there are a few success stories. Everybody wants the same. And domain expert is not too difficult because these guys, they're really honored that they can be in your board, and there's a company, Condugo, you know Condugo, Peter Verboven, sitting here, and we had yesterday an advisory board, and it's about a software for energy for companies, for business, manufacturing. The domain expert is the former boss of the Dutch Institute for Energy, so that's a typical domain expert. And then the innovation manager of KBC is the enabler, and I play accelerator. I'm not really an accelerator, but no. So, voila. You have an idea who you would ask for the 3 roles? Yeah?
No, really for the accelerator.
Sorry?
I have an idea for both.
Yep.
Second one, but not the accelerator.
Yeah. Olivier, you could have an idea? You could think?
For the accelerator?
For all.
Accelerator, I'm thinking, do we need to have especially someone who works in the digital work or not? Because if our product is not digital necessarily, it can be quite different. Depends if we sell online a lot, but...
Yeah, that's true.
Or it can be a success story in the food industry.
Yeah, indeed. The question for you is a little bit, and these are the constraints that you have to think about and maybe talk to people, is will it be a channel company or a digital company? A channel company, trusted channels to sell, and then you need really well channel management, and that's typically how the food works. A digital company, there you put your own digital presence in the market, and you get inbound marketing, and you create your own pull in the market. You understand what I mean? And then you need more on a digital guy. But I think that's a very important question to think about and to talk to a lot of people, because otherwise you will end up always with discussions about those both, and it can take an hour. And for an enabler, you have an idea? Sorry.
Some mentor we also worked. I have talked with quite a few also, would also be very good fit for enabler.
Yeah. Accelerator. Yeah.
It also depends because we are also not per se a digital company. We are more traditional in the sense that we really work with school by school.
Yeah. You could have somebody who did an NGO program maybe in Africa or so. I don't know the word.
NGO is also a bit of a problem because as NGO you depend on a lot on external sources. We really want to create our own.
No, I mean an accelerator could be maybe a guy that was active in the NGO world. So I don't know, of putting programs in Africa. This is all about getting into the market. Getting in the market. So, and this is the back office. This is the front office, back office. Yep. If you want, you thought about 3 or 4. Looks perfect to me. And you are from your company. You are with 2 guys that would be also in the board. You and somebody else. Or you alone.
Well, currently, I'm the only one working full time, and there's 2 other persons who are more like kind of small investors for the moment, who are involved in the project but don't spend a lot of time working on it.
So you would go alone with your board.
Or maybe they will also be present with others, but I would be more
Yeah. There is a holy figure, and for meetings it is 7, and it's really true. If you are with more than 7 in a company, in a meeting, the discussions will split in 2 times 4. You can do the trick with your friends. You put 7 friends together. You have 1 discussion. You put 1 extra, you get 2 discussions of 4. That's really magic. It's really. So a number of 7 is okay for a small company. So if you are with 3 of your own, you can have maximum 4, I guess. If you want to go very early, I would not go for more than 5 or so. If you say me and my partner, 3 guys, it's okay. For you, it can be maybe interesting to have 5 +2, I guess.
Yeah,
You and plus also 7, because it's a tricky thing here to get those things clear about
my
education.
partner is Kenyan, so he also has like expertise of the market.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But what I wanted to say is 7. You need a reason why you 5 extra. You need a reason why to have 5. 5 is already a lot, and you steal people's time. They are not spending the night with family, with kids. For me, it's a burden. I want to have some input, and it's even easier to have input with 3 or 4 people than with 5. You understand what I mean? Okay, though.
And the notebook person, does he has to be in a board, or it could be more find someone who has like contacts and maybe.
The notebook, you mean, is
like the one who has network, a lot of contacts.
Yeah.
But this is something important for me, especially
Yeah.
in the event industry.
Yeah.
It works a lot with the contacts to meet the first time person.
Yeah. That is a tricky question. And the notebook guy is not this guy. No, he's not. No. He's an asset for you. He's an asset guy. He's a domain expert or so.
Might be. Yes.
Yeah, you can have 2 domain experts maybe. Yeah. What is another thing is split consultants and advisors from your board. If you can hire him as a consultant, I will come back on that. But the notebook guy, on dit en français comment? C'est le gars avec le... le gars avec le carnet d'adresse. Het adressenboekje mannetje. It can be that you don't have to put him in because he will give his addresses anyhow, but it can be that his address book is very important in what comes out and will be discussed, because if he has very good addresses with Louis Vuitton, I don't know, or Pernod Ricard, that can change the way in the discussion. So then he's a kind of a domain expert. The market works like this. So yeah. Voilà. Ik denk dat we al... Begint te dagen. Ça commence à résonner un peu, oui. On est belge, hein. Bilingue. So voilà, an accelerator profile, an enabler profile, maturity, and then what we said. Sometimes, with sometimes guys that come from the banks. We have a team of 2 guys come from banks, and they want to sell to the banks. They are themselves the market guru. And then they need somebody with very tough skills in IT, in digital, in cloud, in SaaS. And then the 3rd guy is maybe a tech domain profile, but it's not the case for you, I guess. Right? Yeah. Okay, voilà. The guys that you want to ask, did you thought about friends or consultants from you, or no?
I think it's better to have people you don't know too much.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Mostly for mentor roles and for people like you meet. So by talking.
Yeah, that's best. So best is to keep a distance, because in 2 years it will be done over anyhow. And also they give an advice, and if the advice sometimes is a little bit negative, if they are friends, then it mixes up relationship, and the same with customers. Don't put customers in. Investors. No, they are in a conseil d'administration, in een raad van bestuur, but not there. And also no consultants. We got a lot of questions out. We have a very good consultant. He knows a lot. Can we put him in the board? Or inverse, there is a board member, knows a lot, and he starts advising the company and becomes a consultant. And then for us, he has to leave the board, because you get an imbalance in know-how about the company. You have one guy knows everybody, knows everything about the company. He advises on the processes, so he knows everything about the processes. And then if he starts talking, the other advisors shut up, because they don't have the same. There is an inequality in information. Okay, understand? So just keep people that you can get to, be a little bit ambitious, that have no real link with your company, that have no real financial relationship. They want that your company grows and blossoms just for the sake of voila. And typically when they become a consultant, he is replaced by somebody else, and it's also set up front. It's completely transparent and so. Yeah, sometimes we see boards where for instance, you are in Poperingen. Don't gonna laugh if it's Vlamingen, but you're in Poperingen, and you take the notables of the city. You take the notaris, you take the Fortis banker, and you take then Dirk Vriemaut, for instance. Then you have a board, and in Poperingen, but that's more an honorary board. It lacks digital focus. So if you have people like bankers or other guys, domain experts, sometimes what you can do is you give them a book like Running Lean from Ashmoria. I say, just if you want to read it, just read it. It's a gift. Because we can hardly imagine that, but we are in a complete agile, lean, MVP mindset. And if sometimes people, like a CEO, a maturity guy, or a banker, you have to design it, and you have to build it, and you have to launch it, the waterfall model, and their mentality non-fit sometimes to discuss with the accelerator, which is typically digital profile. So very smart people, they have no problem. They understand immediately, but you have to a little bit maybe educate them or test them. You know what I mean? They don't have to come from a digital background, but things like Lean and Agile and MVP they should know, or you could explain them. We work like that. Okay, now how does it work? We come to the last part. You start by typically people are very honored when they are asked for such a function, and they see it as a reputation, that their reputation works. And you just call them, or you send them a mail that said, I will call you. I have your contacts via those persons. And we would like to talk with you of joining our advisory board. Could we have a brief discussion on the phone over that? And typically people say, yeah, let's meet. On average, you have to ask 2 people to get 1 board member. So you have to probably talk to 6 people. When you start, we had one time. So typically you call them and you explain them. It's an informal thing, no strings attached. It's for 2 years. We see you as a guy that can help build us our maturity. You meet them once. You see the click, and then you ask it formally, and then they say yes, I will do. Okay. Then if you have your 3 guys or your 4 guys, what you do the first time is not have a working meeting, but just an informal session. You go for a lunch, or you order pizza or so with some drinks, with some wine or cocktails, and plezante meetings. And you present the constraints of your company. You say, what we will do tonight is we like to know each other better, and we're gonna explain what the company is going through normally within the next 2 years and how we think we will do it. So you explain this, the constraints. Huh? And so you're very much welcome to help us realize this pista. That's the way you explain. And why you need such a first meeting, you think? Why is it essential not to start working immediately?
To ensure everyone is okay with it, because if someone doesn't like that and you will say it and then you don't go in, you don't like lose a working session.
Yeah. Indeed, that's a very important. Another important reason, just to do with egos. No idea? No?
If somebody is always talking.
Yeah, indeed. So you go for a guy that was a successful entrepreneur. You go for a banker of Fortis Antwerp. You go for the professor of a certain domain. There are 3 egos. You start, the first discussion you have on your board about growth or maturity, they want to win the fight. They want to win. And you cannot stop them. You're a young guy, you cannot. So it goes on and goes on. They are just testing each other. They have too much testosterone. So they have to test each other in a kind of nice environment where they can test, can speak and learn to know each other, learn to appreciate. We once had it, and it was a guy from was an ex-director of a big consultancy firm. And he went into a discussion with the accelerator, with the entrepreneur. So there was a mature guy coming from a kind of McKinsey, but not McKinsey, another company, and the entrepreneur, and they went in such a fight that we had to restart with a new team. Dat is niet meer goed gekomen. Dat is echt gebeurd. Ik was erbij. They could not stop it anymore. And then they decided, but we did this thing, okay? It can happen. Eh? It's really a human thing. You're a young guy, you cannot say, no, shut up, no, you talk, and so you have to prepare it clever. Question? No? So constraints, that's with it. Now, how is it practically? You have 3 hours. Right? So typically, you would do it in the evening, you guess, or?
I guess because of the weather will not be a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Typically, it's an evening thing. You start somewhere at 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock, and people come from the office, so you need some sandwiches. They can arrive between 6 and 7, they can eat a little bit. You start working at 7. At 10, you foresee some schnapps or coffee or something that to ease out because it's tough. So you only have 3 hours, and that's what you want. What do you want to get out of the 3 hours? It's very limited. The optional things. Personally, I never did them in a board. I think it's too optimistic to also talk about team dynamics and financial capital. Huh? I'm just going to talk about this. Typically, for me, it's a...
But if that finance is just your main concern at the moment, for example, you're running out of cash.
Then it's in maturity. Then it moves to maturity. Yeah. But what sometimes happens is a board, people doing well, they are very proud, and they just see they show the P&L, and it's 3/4, and then you are 8 o'clock, and you just show the P&L, just showed off, and no feedback, no real discussion. It's in a conseil d'administration, okay, it needs to be there, but. Only if it matters here. So 1 hour for this, 1 hour for this, 1 hour for this. Okay, it's very simple. One hour for each. And financial, if it's relevant, is here, and a part here. Now, acceleration, 1 hour acceleration. How would you tackle that? The acceleration. How the growth? That means the growth.
Start with where you are at the moment.
And you're doing that by what? By?
Showing how much customers you would
Yeah.
be able to capture. And
Yeah, metrics,
Mhm.
KPI. Yeah, yeah. How many metrics or KPI do you need to give a good image to the board of your progress?
Couple.
A couple, yeah. Yeah. Olivier, what? You?
Yeah, so 2 or 3. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah. You, Chris? Sorry? Yeah, that's one metric. Yeah. Revenue. What's the issue with revenue?
Yeah, maybe gross margin.
Sorry?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
choose here. There are a few options.
Revenue is typically a lagging indicator. It lags enormously everything. So revenue, okay, but you need also other metrics that are related to your acceleration. Sorry?
Pipeline.
Pipeline. Everybody knows what pipeline is. The sales funnel. How much visitors on the web page? How much downloads of white papers? How much business contacts? How much partners signed an agreement? That kind of stuff. Now, this is really essential, and if you do this well, everybody will be happy. This is the secret of the format. But it's not easy, because you need KPIs which are not too much lagging, and that you can measure, and that you can measure from now over 2 years. Okay, so because it has no sense to always show different KPIs. So one of the most important things is to decide on which KPIs you will monitor. In our time, when I was young, we learned about the theory of constraints of Goldratt. Now it's not anymore so popular. And this guy said, every company, every business has one root process that if you do it very well, everything will flourish. And typically you can measure it with a few metrics, a few KPIs. And that can be a conversion step or whatever, or a channel thing or so. If you think for yourself, you don't have to say it. You can imagine 3-4 KPIs for yourself, you think so? Next to revenue? Yeah. Yeah, Olivier, yeah?
Need to find them.
Need to find them. Yeah. Because you're in an indirect model, maybe. Yeah, that's.
I'm more in the revenue looking right now.
Yeah.
Also have a view on my pipeline, but I should think of others.
Yeah. But your revenue comes maybe very fast. Also in B2B, they pay immediately, or they pay.
1 or 2 months, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and they. Yeah. You should. Yeah. Could be that it works in your case. That. But. You have to really think. I think I don't know your case and your market, but about your channel. If the channel is the key, then you should have some metrics to see how effective you are in attracting new channel partners and how effective you are in making them work for you, which is not easy in channels. I work with distributors. If they don't like to work for you, they don't do nothing, even if there is a contract. Is that clear? Chris, you could imagine things for you? Yeah. This takes easily an hour. You can imagine why?
Go into specific contracts.
Sorry?
Go into specific contracts.
No. You just show. You show. We were at 4. We are at 5, and we should be at 6. Here we are at 100. We come from 80, and we should be about 200. It's just. You show just 4 lines. Where should we be? Where are we? Where were we last time? Why does it take 1 hour?
You expect to have advice from your board
Yeah.
how to improve.
Yeah, yeah.
And you will also explain what are the problems you encounter.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And the reality is, in most of the times, you don't get to the plan. You are below plan.
Mm-hmm.
You have to explain why you're below. Yeah? It's a very tough. This is a very tough hour because you're almost always below. Huh? And you are finding excuses. This is an excuse. This is an excuse. This is a bad excuse. You didn't do your job. Yeah, but no but. This is so good because it's so clear. It's just the figures. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
We just talk about the figures.
Subjective.
It's kind of objective if you choose it. It's not easy, but yeah. And so typically, is your kaartje is it almost is it vol of zo? Wat zeg je? Is oké? Ik kan nog een kwartier werken en dan zijn we door. So typically, time, numbers for a KPI. You're typically here, and you say in 2 years we should be here, and then we come in a new phase. Now typically you say we meet. What you typically do is you explain at the kickoff we want to be here via channels and our homework, and for each KPI you typically come back. Okay. You don't have to give that up front, but it's always good to show where are we, where should we be to reach this, to be. It's not a holy ghost, but it's so simple, so logic. And what is the big advantage is it forces you to talk to your partners, to your team, and to your board about, hey guy, we are doing this, we're never gonna get there, so what should we do? And it's so simple, it's so clear. I like it a lot. But it's most of the time very tough. Questions? No? Clear? Ja, maar ik ga het even terug doen. Now, for the maturity part, how could we tackle that? So we had 1 hour about this. They said we are not focused enough. We are too much distracted about other things and so on. We talked about some actions to go to do this, and then we are jumping onto maturity. How will we prepare maturity? What will we show to the board?
It's team dynamics. Like
Or team dynamics is a part of.
Just how do we realize objectives? How does the machinery work?
Yeah. Yeah, how? So you will explain how it works, your company.
How do sales and product and stuff interact and customer support?
Yeah, but yeah, the 1 hour, you kick it off how? By explaining that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
Should we explain how the organization should become to follow the increase? Let's say if we said that we're going to next quarter to get to this level of revenue, but to do this we need to have like a new person in board, but we didn't find one yet, so we're in trouble, for instance.
Yeah, you're highlighting the challenges, the problems. The simple thing is to talk about your problems. And typically you have 1 hour, put the 3 most important lines. It can be about finance, it can be at working capital, it can be at the team dynamics, but so if you wanna further grow, we see that we have not enough working capital. We need money from banks or an investor, or we need to hire a guy, or people are not trained well enough, and that kind of stuff. Now, typically 3 is enough because you have to spend at least 20 minutes for each topic. You ask their feedback. And what's the nice thing about a maturity guy and smart guys is, anyhow you state the question, they will end up with the root problem. You understand? You can say, they are so smart, they've seen so much that if you say, okay, our people are not customer friendly enough, something like that, then they keep on digging and they say, okay, but the root cause is that they didn't get it trained. They are not trained. So how you put the question is not too important. They will come out to the root cause of that block, the team or the money or whatever. Okay, yeah. And there you get, frankly, feedback from the guys, from everybody. 1 hour. Okay. The first hour is very tough. Second hour is still a little bit more relaxed for the partners. And the best is that you end up with a nice thing. It's something nice. And how could we use the third hour to end up in a cheery mood? Not by singing. Yes! Yes. And how do you mean creativity? How could you phrase that?
In the first slide you said do things differently and think about what could be changed. What can be done to address the issues and the skills and the growth. Yeah.
So you say, normally we work like this. We gonna visit our channel partners are essential. We just visit them once a year, and we send them each quarter a project with some status and some improvements. Does anybody have an idea how to improve this process? Have anybody had other ways about working with channel partners? And there's typically that takes 1 hour. So you have to typically you can put one creative thing on the table. So don't bet on more than one. So you have to really pick your thing. It's a break the barrier. We are now so inside. We are so focused on acting like this. Can we do it? And it's nice. It's really nice. You have good input, and you get nice ideas. Of course, creativity is always very nice. Try also this exercise to be constrained, and refer to you're saying things like this, but no, this is too. That's not for. Remember the constraints, and they're gonna give you otherwise 100 days, and you're gonna do nothing with them, and then they will be frustrated that you didn't do anything. So if they come up with an idea here, 2 ideas, note them down, and give feedback next time what you did about them. Okay? Because otherwise people say whatever I'm saying, nothing happens with it. Okay? So that's how the board works. 3 hours. You can end up with a drink, with wine or beer cocktail. And you move from the first hour a little bit tough, second problems, and third, okay, can we do things nice in another way? It's a nice way to end. Typically, you then send a report with, we decide to take action on that. We will do something on that. We will try out a new way. We will tackle the team problem and so on. Just small, maybe 6 lines. It's enough, 6 lines, but you have to send something. And next time you start with the 6 lines and the KPIs, the 3 topics, and the things we want to do different. So preparation is not a lot of stuff. Okay. Seems feasible, huh? I guess. Yeah. Still questions about how and how and the who and so.
Do you have advice how to find the persons?
How to find the persons? So sometimes people work with us, and then you need to pay us a certain fee. And then we open our carnet address, and but then that's a paying modality. But I'm sure you can. For the enabler, so the guy with the maturity profile, typically you know people via or so, CEOs or
I should think about it, but otherwise it's LinkedIn and look like who's connected.
Yeah.
Also, someone suggested me to ask to our accountant, because usually they work with a lot of persons.
Yeah, could be.
And say, okay, by the way, do you have someone in your customers who
Yeah.
is maybe a
Yeah.
retired CEO or someone?
Yeah. The domain expert is typically not too difficult to find, because you know a little bit the business. You have ideas probably.
But no one that I personally know.
No.
But like I can like figure out who's this person, and then I need to get their contact details.
Yeah. If you can get to them via, it's always if you see on LinkedIn with whom they are linked and that you know, that's mutual. That you get an introduction. The toughest are the accelerators. If you need a real accelerator, maybe you both don't need them, but we only have a few hundred success stories in Belgium so far.
The accelerator, you really mean like exponential?
Yeah. But maybe you don't know. That's what we. Maybe you need another type of guy that has experience in Africa, setting up logistics of rolling out programs in Africa. Maybe it's about that.
Yeah, and also more like our scaling is also, we work with public schools, so our scaling will go through government, is like our biggest scaling opportunity basically.
Yeah.
So it's more like we need someone who's well connected also.
Yeah, the guy with the carnet address for you is the accelerator, I guess. Yeah. And who really know how it works in each of those countries. Maybe it's also different country by country. So yeah.
The culture is completely different in Belgium and Kenya, for example. So the strategy should also be.
Yeah, and maybe between Uganda and Kenya, I don't know, but you can also talk to people and just say, I'm looking for an advisory board. You're from Brussels yourself? You're from Brussels yourself?
Yeah.
The Beta Group, for instance, you know Beta Group Brussels? You can go there and talk to peers and ask, or a lot of talking is always. You shouldn't know them personally, but you should know why they are relevant for you, at least. And then via LinkedIn or whatever. I think people always feel very honored when they are asked for something like that. Because maybe you're the next big thing in Africa, or your next big thing in the Horeca, and they wouldn't like to miss an opportunity. And even if they don't have the time, they always are very polite and say, okay, thank you, but maybe you can talk to this guy. You can always ask for, if you don't want to do this, could you know a colleague or so that could be relevant for us, or could you?
There's also a pool of people who work with Started. Like we have a mentor page on the website.
Yeah, that's also maybe.
Also they can introduce you.
Ask Tom or so. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. So typically it's not. Typically, Oma says be ambitious about who you ask for, but for me, if you can have an advisor here or an advisor there. For me, it's more the mechanism that brings you added value. Who is there is, I think, second order. It's just that you are forced to prepare it. You say, oh, shit, our KPIs are terrible guys in the team. What should we do? What is our story? Can we fix it still? So it's more than that, than if you have maybe not a CEO, but you're the chief operating officer of Pernod Ricard Belgium. Okay, yeah, okay, voilà, yeah, we'll do. Yeah. Voilà. Then the formal things, the last things. What would you pay them? You have an idea?
Years.
Cocktails. Was flateren. Yeah. For me, it should work. It would work. and if you should give money, how much money should you give?
I think what we said was like 100 to 150 each per 3 hours.
Yeah. 100 to 150. Yeah. We advise typically 250 for a guy per thing, but of something like that. Why is that? Because if you pay too much, you get consultants, and consultants, they just want to please you. They want to stay inside the company for years and years. I had a similar advice. I said to the guy, don't pay them consultancy fees. He paid them consultancy fees, and they just want to do things after hours when they get paid again. So they act like consultants. Don't do that. Now, if you have an employee like a banker or so, or a retired guy, when 4 times 250 euros is 1,000 euro, and that's still fiscal neutral. So if you get 1,000 euros a year, you don't have to aangeven aan de belastingen. So for them it's just net. And you could see that as a kind of a onkostenvergoeding, because they have to travel, they have to come to you, maybe they prepare something. So give them something, but it's not about the money. They will do it to help you. Okay. I think I said almost everything. Yeah. So strange thing is that the 3 months, once you are in the routine, it goes so fast. Is it again the board meeting? Time flies. You really are always like you look back. It's like you are always preparing the next set of KPIs and say, shit, this didn't improve. Is it 3 months ago? But sometimes it goes very fast. The partners take off and everything starts to scale. Then it's good if you have success to just send a mail, say KPIs or a new set of KPIs. So it's a good idea to keep them informed if you have a success or so between and they will say, wow, cool, I'm part of the team, and that's a good idea. So it's a very simple format. What you only need is time to prepare it and the time for the guys. The better you choose your KPI, the less your hassle with preparing it, and the most relevant it will be for you. And the time of when you have in finance for Condugo yesterday, we had such a fun. We were just enjoying it. 3 of us, external advisors. It's fun. It's just a fun thing. So time. If they have fun, if they can help you, you grow, they will see it as a hobby. So, but it has to be interesting. Right? If they say something, there must be an action. Unless you say it has no sense. Voila. There's a cost total of 3,000 a year, I guess. It's not expensive. So for me, it's a no-brainer when you get in the product market fit phase to do this. Not only to bring in the extra heads, but also for you to, as a management and as a CEO, to force yourself to bring timing inside your management. Always things will drag on. Now you have a tact time. You have a tact, and it's a wonderful, it's a simple, wonderful way of doing things. Okay. So voila, that was it. If you have questions or you want to ask me in person, I'm still here. If you want to get coached by series on other things, you can always contact me. I will put my business cards here. We work also on cloud, SaaS, on data with a data team, on hardware, on go-to-market, so all things that might be of interest, on materials, on plastics, and so. Voilà.